Up with Teresa Chang, a member of the United Students Against Sweatshops organization, to find out if the whole thing is just a cover-up. And it's 2 o'clock right now, but locked doors and nobody in the parking lot must mean that fan attendance at this event was too low to keep going on. And if you're complaining about gas, this jug of gasoline here, only 1 gallon, costs $8. 2 straight weeks of success for the volleyball teams, soccer teams, football teams. How does this really correlate to success through the athletics department? And with the win, WKU proved why it's called March Madness. They went on to win 59-58 over Mississippi Valley State, and they'll take on the overall #1 ranked team, the University of Kentucky Wildcats, in Louisville at the Yum Center. We caught up with WKU Assistant Athletics Director Todd Stewart to see why WKU and Russell would be the right fit. Step into Steve's Sports Card Shop and you're taken to a time many consider is fading. Drowned out by music from the 1970s with an audience of athletes dating back to the 1880s. Owner Steve Kessinger has something for every generation. But there's an irony at his shop. For a hobby historically dominated by children, there are few to be found.
Kids today are so used to, computers and video games and things like that, where they get constant action, that, you hand them a baseball card and they look at it and go, well, what does it do? So to them it's kind of boring. It's just a piece of cardboard.
But 20 years ago, cardboard looked like gold at baseball card conventions. Now a sign of the times, an avoided generation gives way to lesser turnouts at those same conventions. We showed up at a baseball card convention here in Nashville, Tennessee that was supposed to be going on from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. and it's 2 o'clock right now, but locked doors and nobody in the parking lot must mean that fan attendance at this event was too low to keep going on. But getting the youngest generation interested in cards may take a new generation of card shop. Grubmaster Sports Card Shop fits the bill. They rely heavily on interactive games like Yu-Gi-Oh! These games draw in kids and even adults. But conforming isn't something Kessinger says he's willing to do.
I'm frankly older than most card shop owners, and I'm kind of old school, and I really don't have an interest in learning all about Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon cards.
Bowling Green's 2 card shops seem to represent a yin and yang. Old school sports card collecting meets a newer version, and both seem optimistic about the outlook of the industry. By definition, many would say Chad Willis lives a double life. On the weekdays, Willis spends his time in chemistry research labs on WKU's campus. But on the weekends, he has a serious need for speed. That's because Willis has been racing cars for the past 10 years. But Chad isn't alone. His younger brother Hunter races alongside him, something Chad says brings the two closer together.
We're both in college now, and we're both a lot busier, but we make time for racing because we have so much fun with it, and it definitely does make us tight. I get kind of nervous racing with him just because I don't want to tear up both our cars.
And it's not just the brothers involved in racing. Chad says his family has been supporting them through every left turn.
It's definitely a family effort for anybody at the track right now. Their family's behind them 100%. It gives you something to gather around, something in common, and you're always pulling for your dad or your brother, whoever may be on the track.
But auto racing comes at a price. The average car costs around $35,000. And if you're complaining about gas, this jug of gasoline here, only 1 gallon, costs $8, more than twice the time that an average citizen pays. Tires cost $1,000 per month, and that's just the bare minimum. For the Willis family, the price is right to continue racing. But Chad has a unique future ahead of him, one that may steer him away from a goal like NASCAR.
Right now I plan to go to UK next year for medical school, whether it be with race cars or with patients. You got to do whatever it takes, have that flexibility of your mind to figure out what's the best solution.
For Chad and Hunter Willis, it's hitting the books, then the pavement.
Wait a minute.
He's surrounded by winning drivers and fast cars. Throughout his legendary career, Jack Roush has won more than 400 races as a driver and owner of Roush Fenway Racing, earning him penthouse status in the sport. But his upbringing was far from glamorous. Jack was born in Covington and raised 70 miles east of Cincinnati, in the village of Manchester, Ohio. His brother Frank and longtime friend Buster Rourke believe growing up in a small town has contributed to his level-headedness throughout the years.
He enjoys coming here. He remembers where he came from. He enjoys the people, and he spends a lot of time. I mean, he goes every car that's here. He views it, and anybody that wants an autograph, it doesn't make any difference whether it's a Ford, Chevy.
Even Manchester took note of his fame. In 2003, Jack Roush Way would replace Main Street. And the Jack Roush Day has been celebrated here on this street every October 15th for the past 8 years. But like the Kentucky Speedway getting a NASCAR race, some things are just meant to change.
We do an auction. Jack sends in some autographed items from these drivers, and which his autograph gets on the item. He does an auction with us out on stage.
The annual Jack Roush Day has now raised more than $50,000 for the village. That day is highlighted with a lunch, auction, and of course the car show. Even non-racing fans would enjoy his charismatic personality, relating Jack to an old left-hander you might recall.
You know, he's like old Joe Nuxall. You know, Joe was, if you have a rain-out days, put the microphone in front of him. Most people would shut the TV and no, that's when I'd want to, because he'd just go on. Well, Jack's that way about automotives and about racing. He can just go on and on and on.
And if you do attend this weekend's race, keep an eye on Jack. Keeping with his Cat in the Hat nickname, he'll be the one wearing a straw hat. Reporting from Manchester, Ohio, Jake Ryle, WCPO Sports.
WKU football's regular season finale against Troy capped off an improbable season after their 0-4 start. And for the lucky fans in attendance, well, it was a game for the record books. Head coach Willie Taggart really opened up the playbook in the top season finale. To start, blink and you're going to miss it. Who needs a fullback or a running back when you have offensive lineman Wes Jeffries powers through for the game's first touchdown? Later in the game, with 2 men in motion to the right, you're going to see it here just in a minute. Quarterback K'Wan Jakes is going to fake a pitch, and then he's going to be off to the races. Here he goes. Jakes had 207 total yards of offense. The Tops defeat Troy 41-18. But the price of admission was to see Bobby Rainey. He rushed for 227 yards on 43 carries. Rainey also added 3 second-half touchdowns. His career accolades include most rushing yards in one season and most career rushing yards while at WKU.
Me and Bobby had this thing that we always say, you either getting better or you're getting worse. Nobody stays the same.
We laid the foundation, and if somebody doesn't break the record, that means we're not doing something right. So, it's truly a blessing to be here and be a part of it. And ultimately, he didn't really care. I don't think he cared. He just wants to win, and that's what I like about the kid. So it couldn't happen to a better guy.
I didn't hear Bobby say anything about the record the whole time. He just wanted to come out and win. But I'm happy for him, and I'm just saying, just his mindset as a topper, he just think about the team first.
What a great moment for WKU football. And the road to the record started in 2008 when Rainey rushed for 240 yards. Interestingly enough, that actually was above his average for his entire career. And in 2009, Rainey nearly tripled his offensive production. Just a few stats we have for you. He actually submitted his name as the top starting running back. This season, Rainey has been used more in the pass attack. He has 4 touchdown receptions, and to add insult to injury, Zach, Rainey also has 2 throwing touchdowns. So the man is really a man of all things you can do offensively speaking.